Our next guest this evening is Dr Omar Baarini. Dr Baarini is an esteemed paediatric surgeon and who's passionate about providing surgical training and charitable care in developing nations. Please join me in welcoming Dr Baarini to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for those kind words. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, past, present and future. I'd also like to thank Ahmet Keskin and the RAS, as well as Ambulance Victoria, for the invitation tonight. I was very pleased to receive the phone call. Thank you very much. Welcome, Mr. Kenley, Professor Tony Walker. Thank you for having me. I'd also like to welcome men of faith and the other dignitaries that are here tonight. I'd also like to give a welcome to some of the people that helped me do some of this charity work. That includes the people from Networks Australia Foundation, the Safi brothers. If any of you have ever been to Bergies, you'll know those chaps. They're pretty passionate about empowering youth. I'd also like to welcome the members of the Muslim Health Professional Network. So welcome to you guys. And an extra special welcome and acknowledgement to Dr Richard Middleton, the President of Towards Hope Foundation. He's also my anaesthetist, and thank you for waking up my patients after every procedure. People often ask me why I am so passionate about charity work. And I think a lot of that stems back from my faith. I believe Islam that is strongly believes in social justice. The second caliph of Islam in around 700 BC was quoted as saying, "How can you enslave a man that was born free?" Interestingly, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in its first article also states, "All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights." So those two align together very, very nicely. I'm a very strong believer, especially people living in the first world who live very luxurious lives relative to what we see in other parts of the developing worlds, that we are all given a gift by the Creator. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, you are given the capacity to not only earn a living for yourself and your family, but that capacity that you're given should be used to help people who are less fortunate than yourself. As the Prophet Muhammad is quoted as saying, "A man's true wealth is in the good that he does in this world." It's not about how much money you accumulate or the number of houses that you are able to buy. I've been lucky enough to work with these three organisations to varying levels: Towards Hope Foundation, Networks Australia Foundation, and Australia Relief Organisation. I've been involved with Towards Hope Foundation for many years now, and we've done a number of projects, but I thought I'd highlight this project in particular because this was one of the ones that really, I think, had a big impact on me as a person, but also gained some media attention, and it was about Malak, a young girl who was born in Gaza. She was born without ears, and as a result was, you could say, legally deaf. She could not get access to the medical services that she required in order to address those concerns. So, with the help of generous donators, with the help of generous families that looked after Malak, and with the help of generous medical staff, we were able to bring Malak to Australia and have new ears reconstructed onto her head and bone-anchored hearing aids. What did that mean for Malak? That meant that she could now hear. She could lead a quality of life that previously she was not going to be able to lead. So we were able to impact that one person in that case. In 2014, I was lucky enough to travel to Jenin-Palestine to also deliver some medical aid. You'll see there on the outer part of the screen, the team So we've got an orthopaedic surgeon there, another a podiatric surgeon, myself, the guy at the end is a close friend of mine who was there for translation purposes, Marcel, the guy in the red vest, who's actually here tonight. Yeah, so we went along in 2014. It was actually quite an overwhelming experience. This was my first trip overseas. The local community, when they gradually worked out we were there over the course of the 2 weeks, in this tiny hospital, you'd have hundreds of people waiting outside wanting to seek your services. You only have so much capacity in the day and only so many hours in a day. So you would do what you could for as many as you could in any given day. So I think in the course of those 10 days, we probably saw about 1,000 people and operated on a number. The problem with charity work sometimes is that you can only deliver the services to the capacity of the equipment which you have. As you can see there, where we're shuffling through on our first day through the donated equipment which we had. And what that does is it allows you to work out, okay, it's always do no harm. Work out what services you can deliver safely to make people's lives better without risking any potential complications for the people and just leaving them behind. Some of the things that we did see, and I intentionally did not put many surgical photos up because this is not designed to be a medical discussion, but some of the things that we were seeing are patients walking around like this with external fixators on their legs, not for days or weeks, for years. For years, purely because the resources are not there to give these people permanent solutions to their problems. It's absolutely devastating. One of the other challenges, I'll just go back to this slide for a second, something that's a little bit funny. The orthopaedic surgeon, the guy in the brown top, he came from the UK. They lost his bags at the airport, so he had no clothes. That brown top he's wearing was actually the top to my pyjamas. So for most of the week, he was walking around with my pyjamas. So, in 2019, we decided to venture off to Lebanon, and then again in January 2020. We decided that Lebanon was going to probably be our base, having come from Lebanon, a lot more familiar territory, and the networks I had in Lebanon to be able to deliver this work was far greater. One of the biggest challenges with charity work also is the corruption. You can have the best intention to go over and deliver aid. Unfortunately, the corruption can stop you from delivering that aid. So I can honestly tell you, in the first trip we went in 2019, we probably only operated on 3 people. We were there for 2 weeks. It was only in the last few days that we had a chance to consult and operate on people. Unfortunately, people need their pockets to be lined in order to allow you to help the people who are less fortunate. Nonetheless, 2019 we could say was more of a fact-finding mission. In 2020, we went back again and delivered some more aid. In 2019, we saw this girl when she was under 2 years of age. You can see the deformities that she's got there with her legs, called clubfoot. Had they have allowed us to deliver the aid we wanted to deliver in our first mission, she would have had quite minimal surgery and some plaster casts, and that would have gone a long way to fixing her problem. But because they did not allow us to deliver that service, she was a year older, her bone morphology changed, it required much greater reconstructive surgery, unfortunately, for this girl. It's very, very unfortunate that a lot of these sorts of conditions can often be fixed even without surgery if the resource is there and the know-how is there. But unfortunately, the education's not there, the know-how is not there, and the resources are not there. So people are ending up with lifelong deformities, which could have been avoided. So education is part of the key to delivering this sort of service. Whoever is kind, Allah will be kind to them. Therefore, be kind to man on earth, and Allah will be kind to you in the hereafter. There is an upside to doing charity work. You get to do a bit of tourism. You need something to detension from all the things and the trauma that you see. So taking a break is the highlight of the trip. Now that's in the bottom corner there, like a lamb to the slaughter, is Dr. Richard Middleton, the anaesthetist. we sort of pushed him into getting that work done at his behest, I think, to some degree. Is that right, Richard? So the bonds you make with the other volunteers is also amazing. They're friends for life, absolute friends for life. Locally, Networks Australia Foundation run camps biannually when there's no COVID around. It's about empowering youth, teaching them what their tools are in life, the tools which Allah has given us all, so that they can use those tools to become better members of this society. I can tell you now, the change you see in some of these kids over 4 days is like nothing I've ever seen before. There was one kid in particular, I remember, who was very, very standoffish. He wouldn't even shake your hand. He came at his behest because his parents pushed him into it. By the end of the 4th day, he was hugging everybody because of the love that he was shown and that he actually had value in the person that he is. I, unfortunately, am not part of the committee. They've asked me to be part of it a few times, and I don't like to commit to anything which I know I can't commit to. But I do commit to being at these events. And the reason for that is that quite often you as an individual, your own soul gets a lot more out of it than what you're giving these people. You come back feeling like a better person, knowing that you've helped people. The only problem with all the charity work is that you need to also come to terms with that you can only help a drop in the ocean. One of the hardest things leaving Palestine, leaving Lebanon, as you fly out, is remembering all the people that have these problems that you can't help. You're just leaving them behind. So it's very heartbreaking. But we need to remember, whoever saves one life, it's as if they've saved all of humanity, as the Holy Quran says. Do not underestimate what value you can add to someone's life, even if it's just one person. Thank you very much for listening.